Good morning, everyone. This is Brad Matheny. Today is the 23rd of May, Friday. Happy Friday, everyone. Glad you guys are all following along and getting some good information. At least I'm trying to deliver the good information to you. Today, we're looking at a pretty big breakdown, guys. So the S&P is already down 1.5 points, 8.72, 8.69 points lower overnight. I have the ES chart setting up right over here. You can see this overnight breakdown just really in the last couple of hours, breaking down fairly hard. S&P's down 90 points, Nasdaq's down 440. This is a pretty big move, guys. I'm not saying that we're out of that channel yet. You can see that channel here. This is an hourly chart. So let's just roll this back, and you can see that we roll into that kind of flagging formation up here, or the peaking formation down into the flag, up across this flag channel. I'd say pretty much across here. And does this count as a breakdown? Well, yeah, I mean, it's a breakdown. It's a breakout of this channel. We haven't filled this gap yet. Remember, we have this gap back over here to fill. So, technically we're breaking down. We're moving into a downward channel, which should ideally try to consolidate probably around this consolidation zone. So we should break down into this zone here, I would think. And what we're looking at right now, guys, is we're looking at a early stage breakdown. Now, remember, I thought that we would carry out here until June. So I thought that we would roll with some consolidation out here into June and then break down. So, I'll change this to blue so it looks a little different. So, do we have that serious breakdown yet? Are we cleared of this channel? Well, it all depends on what happens over here with this gap. If we hold above the gap, find support here, which is actually coming all the way down to here. If we find support in this area, up in this 5736 area, then, and that's really this area here. So make this green, dark green support. If we find support in this area, we could continue to bounce along this channel, maybe moving into that breakdown. If we don't find support and just blow right through this, then we're probably headed down into the 535, 525 area that I talked about in the SPY. Now let's come over and do the same thing over here in the SPY. I talked about this gap window here. Same type of gap window here. So basically from this high to this low, carrying over. We're right in the midst of that gap area right now. If we don't find support and bounce off of this open, then there's a very good chance we could continue to move downward through this gap range and down into this 2025, 2035 area here. In fact, let me do it with a heavier marker and show you that if we don't find some support, then we're probably going to roll down into that lower channel. Okay. And remember, I've been warning about this kind of rotation over the last, 2-3 weeks. I'm not here to be the I told you so guy, but we'll see how it plays out. And you might hear me say, and I told you so once or twice in the future. That's just kind of how it is. So this 575, 576 level looks to be really threatened today. We've got to watch this gap area. Low of the gap area really is 568. So that 568 level right here would be our next major threshold. And then below that, like I said, we're kind of moving right over into this consolidation zone kind of between the 540 and 515 area, and that comes down into this major zone right here being the next consolidation zone. So now from there, of course, if we get into an extreme breakdown, we could continue to see a deeper low back over here in the early June area, okay, or July. So we'll see. We'll see how things play out. I've drawn these lines, kind of trying to give you an idea of what could happen. And again, the early July area, I should rearrange these because this is really the area right here. July, June 10th, June. Yeah, actually, that's a June low, and then here's the July low, July 21st. That's actually got to get moved back over here. Let me redraw these. You see how I've put markers, vertical markers out here? It's because I have trouble drawing the timelines efficiently. So where we would have a potential marker here would be potentially in around June, call it 16th or so. And where we would be in this breakdown, we would be looking at a roll into a consolidation low here, rolling back up into a potential breakdown low, rolling back up into a deep low out here in October. So there's kind of your play by play. Now, before we get too far ahead of ourselves, let's stick with what's coming today. Today is a carryover in carryover mode. Yesterday was bullish explosive warning. We moved into a warning trend. Remember, I've been kind of settling into this breakdown mode for a while. We had that flat day yesterday, which was a breakaway trend. Didn't happen. It obviously is happening this morning. So we might be kind of a 1 bar delay or moving into that big crush pattern here. Now, weekend patterns. Had one of my clients, one of my subscribers ask me about weekends. Weekends are typically psychological patterns that play out on Saturday, Sunday. In my opinion, they're still valid. Like this gap 22 and Bozu trending, still valid, but think of them as characters or emotions or however you want to say it, price traits that take place over the weekend and carry off into Monday, Tuesday. Now, in this case, Monday's a holiday. So over the weekend here, we have a carryover today, a crush, which is highly likely to the downside, a bottom setting up on the 25th, then an inside pause. Then we go into a blank day and counter trend on Tuesday. Then we move into an inside breakaway. So depending on what happens here today, the way I would see this whole thing playing out, we get a breakdown move today, potentially, maybe down into this 569, 573 area. Then we move into the holiday, the weekend and the holiday, which is a breakdown, a bottom, and a pause. So by Monday, Tuesday, we might be trading in this 560, 555 area. If that weekend play crush bottom inside pause plays out the way I think, we could be looking at a breakdown of about, from where we closed yesterday, about 4.5%, 5% maybe, and be trading in that 555, 556 area, maybe somewhere between 550, 555 by Tuesday. Could be a pretty good breakdown given where we're at and what we're doing. Okay, QQQ, same type of setup, guys. We're going to end up opening at about 505 right now. We're looking at a breakdown. This 500 to 502 is the upper window. We still have that gap to contend with. So if we hold above this gap, We could see some support. Remember, ultimately, we're coming back down into this kind of a range, potentially targeting lower support for channeling. We do have a serious or potentially serious breakdown mode. So if we do break down here, we're probably going to end up trying to move down into this area for consolidation. And then, well, let me do it this way. Breaking down into consolidation around a low here, rolling up out of it, and then breaking down into our July low. Draw that again. Down, consolidation, 15th. Kind of like that, maybe. And again, trying to guess these future price directions, ranges, cycles. I'm just using, my experience and my gut, to kind of guess at what could come. Sometimes I'm pretty good at it, though. Just give you a little FYI. So, okay, so where we're at right now, we're still holding above this level, this flag level, and if we do get down below this, let's call it 490 area, that would indicate a pretty solid breakdown. So give you an idea that getting below 490 into this 485 area, that would be kind of this area right here. That would be a pretty good breakdown. That would give me fairly strong confirmation that we're looking at a downward price trend. Okay, let's come over, take a look at gold and silver. Now, very interesting move overnight with gold. Big rally overnight. You can see gold went from basically 3,300 up to 3,348. We could get a $100 move in gold today. Could be a very explosive move. Gold is right now, this is a 1 hour chart, trying to break away from this sideways channeling through this gap area. If we do get above this high, I'm going to draw a line right here, which we're trying to right now. Then the next move is up here into this 44 30, 44.50 area. And remember, that's going to be a pretty big move. That means that we're going to go maybe 120 bucks total higher if we get this move overnight from 3,300 to 3,420, 3,440. That's maybe a good solid $120 today. Now, if we don't get up there today, then very likely we're going to see gold continue to meander upward next week, through the weekend and into early next week. So this 3,500 becomes a very solid target area for gold traders right now. And I don't recommend holding overnight or over the weekend, but maybe some options that carry out hedged, maybe some shorter term calls and some longer term puts just in case, waiting through the end of the day, see where we're at. If we get up in this 3,400, 3,420 area, it might be a good idea to get some shorter term call trades moving like this potentially. And, and that would be maybe 10 days, 15 days, maybe less, 5 days, and then get a few longer term puts out just in case it breaks down. And you would be hedged efficiently going into the holiday weekend. I think the Memorial Day weekend could be very explosive. Personally, I think it could be extremely a really big move for metals. Now, silver lagging. Silver is lagging against gold. Still has a very good rotational move, potentially to the upside. Silver's only up 5 cents right now, has been kind of under pressure. We've got a lot of volume picking up right now, where gold has been moving higher all night, almost all night. And what we're looking at here, guys, is again, a kind of a dichotomy between gold and silver. Gold has been rallying quite extensively all night long. Silver's just kind of been dead in the water. I think silver's going to make a pretty big move here if gold does continue to break upward. So we'll see how that plays out. The silver and gold cycle pattern is a rotation in counter trend mode. Notice we have the gap stall revert flush on Saturday, the topping pattern on Sunday, and a reversal rally in counter trend mode on Tuesday. This rotational mode is in counter trend mode. So at this particular point, rotation is rotation in the trend. I think that gold and silver are making a move simply because we're going into a long weekend, and there could be a lot of things taking place in the background that I've talked about extensively. Now, remember, longer term, and I'll go over this maybe in a special video this weekend, I see gold moving up to, 4,700, 5,500, maybe, before the end of July, maybe before the end of June. So it's just a matter right now of getting this big breakout, getting back up to 34, 3,500. And then I think the next targets, 4,200, 4,400, are going to come fairly quickly. So we'll see. Right now, very happy to see this move higher. Want to see it continue. Want to see silver make a big breakaway move. I mean, it may not happen today, but boy, if this take keeps up, we could have a big move in silver between now and, say, Wednesday, Thursday of next week. We'll see. And again, silver's pretty cheap to get into. It's not, you can trade SILJ or SLV, or there's another one. I think it's AAGQ. Anyway, very solid moves, in my opinion. Okay, lastly, we're going to come over here to Bitcoin. 108.48. Bitcoin's down 3%. Well, I'm not going to be the I told you so guy right yet, because this does not mean much to me as far as a breakdown. Yeah, it's a pretty solid breakdown. Yeah, I mean, it is extensive. Got to say that, it's, everybody kept telling me it's going to the moon. Well, obviously it's turning around a little bit today. I think the weekend could play out like I was showing you here. The Bitcoin itself is more tied to the QQQ, in my opinion. And this carryover pattern, crush pattern, bottom pattern, inside pause, and then moving into this breakaway, harami, crush, and trend mode. I think what we're going to be looking at potentially is really a move kind of like this, breaking down and retesting this area here, and then moving down into some sort of a breakdown mode. So, not the end of the world. In fact, we could end up coming down, coming down back into this 100, 101 area, stalling, rolling up a bit, and then breaking down. A nice failed move. And that would set up a nice short-term flagging pattern, which I would like to see as a big solid breakdown mode. And of course, we would then have to look for consolidation. And consolidation comes right down here, in my opinion. Very easy to see rotational consolidation back around the 70,000 area. So if we were to get a breakdown in that flag, we roll down, we consolidate up, we break down, and we move back into consolidation here before attempting to break downward. Hypothetically, guys, I'm not saying it's guaranteed to happen. I mean, if I could guarantee the price to do things, I'd be long gone. I'd be on my, 190-foot yacht sailing around, just kind of guaranteeing what, easy money, pick a trade and execute. But that's not the way the real world works. So interesting how this is playing up, though. Really interesting how this is rolling. We'll see. Remember my analysis back over here. This is getting a lot of attention. People are really, and it's gonna, if I timed it right with this warning, I gave this everyone, maybe, because this was weekly, maybe 2 or 3 more weeks, 4 more weeks before we get this rolling top. But we had lined up pretty solid time-wise. So, it makes sense that maybe we're going to roll over the next 7-10 days, and start to roll back down into the support channel. So we're going to see. Remember, this support channel is going to be down in this 100,000 consolidation area. Let me come back over here and check. So no, it's back into the 76,000. So that puts us back into this area, this lower consolidation cycle down here. Eventually we get out of that, we move down into this level maybe, and then looking for the ultimate lows back over here. Again, no guarantees. Time will tell. We'll see if I'm correct or not, but it looks very interesting today. So happy Friday. Watch this thing for a rollover. We're finding a little support right now. I mean, the markets may have exhausted themselves into this move, but remember, we're looking at that carryover, which could be leading into a crush bar. Does make sense that this big breakdown could be a crush bar, but this looks like kind of a breakaway carryover crush downward. Like these three patterns are all kind of playing out right here, and it may be ahead of the holiday weekend, looking for this bottom pause coming in on Tuesday. So we could be looking for a bottom out here on Tuesday, and would make sense that this 555 to 560 area could very well be our bottom. Okay, guys, that's it for now. Thanks for all the great comments, everybody. Happy Friday. Stay safe. I got plans with the family this weekend. Going to enjoy. We've been dancing around the 90s, hundreds out here. It's cooling back off to about 80, 77, 80, 82. That's beautiful in California, considering we know what's coming is 103, 104 degree temperatures. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. Go get some. Thanks for following, everyone.